with a warning message to the church. My name is Sister Fanny. I became sick, and after a while, my condition grew worse. As a result of shortage of blood, the color of my blood changed. I stopped breathing, which means I died. At that moment, my journey to eternity began. Suddenly, I found myself standing before a broad and narrow way. At that place, I saw many people rushing through the broad way, while only 3 people passed through the narrow way. In the next stage, I found myself standing before the judgment seat of God. I saw a crowd of angels worshiping God. They were saying, "You are worthy, you are worthy, you are worthy." 2 angels from the crowd of angels confronted me with 2 books in their hands. One of the angels opened the book with the inscription, "The Book of Life." With speed, he turned the pages of the book to the end, but my name was not found in the Book of Life. He opened the second book with the inscription, "The Book of Death." He also turned the pages very fast and paused almost at the end of the book, looked at me and called me by my name, Fanny, and said, "You were given 3 gifts, evangelism, singing, and teaching. But you did not do well with these gifts. Instead, you devoted yourself to secular teaching because of material things." The value God places on Sunday service, weekly activities, evangelism, follow-up, and visitation. The angel then asked me, "Did you attend church service last Sunday before you became sick?" I answered, "Yes." He said, "You were recorded absent." The angels that takes record of attendance took record by 8 a.m. when service commences. You came 3 minutes after 8. So you were late. Lateness is equivalent to absence. Then he asked me, "Did you attend Bible study the last Monday before you became sick?" I said, "Yes." "But you were late," he said. "You were marked absent." He then asked me, "Did you attend the midweek service on Thursday?" I answered, "No." He then said that Sunday service, Bible study, and midweek service scored 10% each. He said that my total score of attendance is 3/80%. He asked me again, "How often do you go for evangelism?" I said, "Very often." He then said, "What about follow-up and visitation?" I told him that I do them very often. He said, "Evangelism, visitation, and follow-up scores 100% each. You score 30% in evangelism, 40% in follow-up, and 50% in visitation. Your score is 120/300%. He asked me if I do pay tithes. I said yes. He said that we ought to pay tithe of all things, be it gift, gain, or salary. He went further to say that we ought to give more in offering. He then asked me, "As a teacher, if your student scores these marks, will you pass him or her?" I said no. He paused for a while and said, "What do you have to say about this?" By then I was shivering because I knew that I was in trouble. I saw us reaching the acceptable standard, Daniel 5:27. "Tekel, thou art weighed in the balances, and art found wanting." Hebrews 12:28. "Wherefore we, receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved, let us have grace, whereby we may serve God acceptably with reverence and godly fear." The other angel, who had been silent, said with a loud voice, "You are unfaithful servant. Take her to hell." When I heard that voice, I was terrified. I wish I could disappear or escape, but there was nowhere to hide or escape. I wept bitterly before the angels, pleading for mercy. Unfortunately, their faces remained motionless. They were not moved by my tears and weeping. But as I continued crying and pleading for a second chance, the angel who was talking to me said, "Show her hell." I then saw many people crying bitterly in hell. 10 strokes of whip were given to me as a warning for being an unfaithful servant. The whip was so painful that I was shouting instead of crying. As I kept pleading for a second chance while weeping and shouting, the angel said to me, "Go back to the world and amend your ways." At that moment, I woke up shouting, "Fire! Fire! Fire!" The heat of hell fire was so terrible that I just couldn't understand the pain. Lessons to learn. Number 1. A Christian's neighbor is not supposed to go to hell. Matthew 22, verse 39. Number 2. The mission of every Christian is to make heaven and to take along as many people as possible. Don't fail God in this. John 15, verse 8. Number 3. Anything you prefer doing to serving God is your idol. Number 4. When people choose wrong priorities, they regret at last. Number 5. If you accept Jesus Christ, you accept life. Number 6. The life of a man does not consist on his possessions. Number 7. Christianity is the ability to represent Christ wherever you go. 8. Without soul winning, your Christianity is incomplete.